Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're making these beautiful seashell garland fairy lights. They are made of resin and glitter. They glow so beautifully. So this is originally what it looks like, and then you can turn it into this right here. It's nice because you can change it up however you want. You can choose whatever shape, whatever color, if you want glitter, a lot of it, a little bit, whatever you like, but it just has the most beautiful glow and shape and uniqueness to it, where it still is clear through the resin, but the sparkle adds that little extra. So stay tuned for how to get this. So stay tuned on how to make this yourself, or just enjoy watching a video of me making it. So what we're going to be needing today is, number one, some resin, any sort you want. I'm using a UV curing one. It's a lot easier for smaller projects and you don't have to wait as long for it to be done. You will need your string of fairy lights, any type of glitter. I prefer some extra fine ones, and it depends how much you really want it to stand out. I've got a couple of white ones and I've got a gold one. So I haven't decided exactly what I want, but there's a mixture here so I can kind of test it out. And then a somewhat fine, it's not an extra fine, but a fine glitter. And then this one is a cut up piece of holographic plastic into very small pieces. So we can test out all of those. You'll then need your silicone mold, preferably the one that is very shiny on the inside. You can have ones that are more so matte and don't have that glossy finish. So this will just ensure that you don't have to do a clear top coat over top to get that shine of the resin. And you can choose whatever shape you'd like. I'm doing an aquatic themed one, and then you will need something to mix it with. Last but not least, if you are going to be using a UV curing resin, then you will need a lamp. This one is a UV lamp. There are two different ones. This one's actually the one that I use for nails, but it works the exact same. There's UV and then there's LED. So just ensure that you are getting a UV one. You can also, during daylight, put your resin into the sun after you have poured it into your designated molds, or else it will cure while you are pouring it. So that is another alternative if you don't have a light. So let's jump into it. I also have a silicone mat, so if I do spill any of the resin, I can let it cure and then just peel it right off. So first off, you want to ensure that your mold is clean. It is a little bit harder when you have pets. But if you do store it in a plastic bag, it makes it a little bit easier to clean them. So I'm going to start off by taking the UV curing resin, and I'm going to fill, not entirely, but just maybe halfway. Also, I think I'm mainly going to stick with just these smaller shells. And you do want to make sure that if you are working with any resin, that you have a window open or you are in a very well ventilated area, because resin does smell pretty bad. And depending on which ones you use, some of them do have toxic fumes. So you just want to make sure that you are being extra safe. So once you have the resin in there, just going to take your glitter and just sprinkle some in and give it a nice stir. Don't stir too much, as it will just create a lot of air bubbles. Definitely don't want that. And for thicker glitters, you don't want to leave them standing for too long in the resin, because they will sink all to the bottom, just create one sort of solid line, which is not exactly desirable. You want it to look as if it's still floating. Just a small tip, make sure you always close your glitter after you're done using it, because anything can happen, and it's better to be on the safe side of a closed jar glitter than to knock it over and have glitter going everywhere. Okay, so next what you want to do is you find all the little lights on them, and luckily you can kind of bend the wire and just set them into the resin deep enough so it's kind of in the middle of it. You're just going to have to bend it in a way so that it doesn't pop back out. So just bend those up like that. You can tape them down into here if you'd like as well. I just really don't want to have to go get tape. Alright, so just ensure that all of these are sitting in where you like them. Then you want to grab your light and just fold it over. Once it starts to cure, you can just let it go and kind of let it do its thing. So I just chose the 30-second settings, and then once I pop them out of the mold, I like to go over the other side to make sure that that part has cured as well. Now then I'm just going to take from a different side of the wire because I want to still cure that again. You can go in a row, but I'm just going to go with whatever kind of fits at the moment, because they are on opposite ends of the silicone mold. So now I'm just going to take this entire tray and pop it in the sunlight for a little bit to cure it all the way through. Actual UV rays are a lot stronger than the light, so I'm just going to bring the sun outside and we shall be back. Okay, and we're back. So I have left these in the sunlight for maybe about 30 seconds, and the only thing that I can see already is that well, first off, it's a learning curve with resin. So if anything doesn't ever turn out right the first time, just get over it. Just be okay, well, first time, second time, third time, it could be your 50th time, and you could still make mistakes because resin is very unpredictable. So there are a couple of air bubbles underneath because the top layer had hardened a lot quicker than the bottom layers. So the liquid was still moving around in the mold and some air got in there. So it may not be a perfect shape, but that's all about things being handcrafted. But luckily we can fill those in still. But look at that. Just gonna pop the rest of them out, and then we can look at them close. Those are so cute. Let's see if we can try and get these. So these ones turned out actually really, really good. Definitely happy with those. This one, let's see if we can see it. So there are two giant air pockets here. but, oh, there you go. So you can kind of see it right at the bottom of the shell. But what we're just going to do is fill that in with epoxy. Luckily, it still has a barrier around the edge, so we can just fill that in. But that is really, really nice how it turned out. And once you flatten out the wire, that is so darn cute. Can't wait to see what they look like with the lights on. But what we are going to do then is take some more of the resin. We're going to move silk on the little side and find the ones that have the air bubbles, and then making sure that you're not putting any glitter into your bottle of epoxy. Just going to pick up some of that and drip it right into where the air bubble was. Now that those little air pockets are filled, I'm just going to take the light and repeat the steps, let it cure. Let's see if we can get it to show. So this was the one that had 2 air bubbles just right here and here. And you can see now that it's completely filled in. And because it's at the bottom, it doesn't mess with the scalloped edges of the shell here, that kind of design. So we're just gonna leave that. So I really, really, really like this glitter because it has a little bit of like a pink and a blue shade to it. So I find that it looks really nice with the light and the fact that they're shells. So I'm gonna keep using that one. Now I want to test something out. So I'm just going to pour a very, very small amount into the mold, just enough to cover the bottom. So do a slightly thinner layer. Make sure it just coats the entire bottom. And then set that to cure. So this might prevent us from getting those air bubbles down in there because it will be a thinner layer. Hopefully. That's the goal. Now we're going to pour a little bit more. Take your glitter. And let them cure. And because it was such a thin layer, I'm just going to add a little bit more of the resin on top to ensure that the wire is embedded deep enough into it, because resin can crack. So if you're ever moving the lights around and you're straightening it back out, you don't want it coming loose. All right, I'm gonna take these outside one more time to make sure they have fully cured. All right, so let's see how that turned out. Well, that solves the air bubble problem. These are super smooth. There's almost no imperfections. I think the only one that has an air bubble is this one, but it's right in the middle. So I think, oh, I know what it was. So in the second layer, when we mix the glitter into it and then put the strand of the light in it, I moved it out a little bit before it fully cured. So it created that tiny air bubble in the middle, but that's okay. Overall, that worked quite a bit better. It may be a little more tedious to do some layers, but it really is just all up to you on how much you really care if there's an air bubble. And now just have to finish the entire rest of the strand. You can also alternate and just do, let's say, one with a shell, one without a shell, all up to what you like. But I'm gonna keep going and finish off the strand, and we'll see you guys at the end. All right, and now the last step, you want to take something that you can cut on, and very carefully, if you need an adult to help you, or if you are an adult and you just need someone else to help you because you shouldn't be trusted with an X-Acto knife, do that now. So when mixing the glitter, you might get some resin on the edge of silicone, and it just causes these little like drips when you pour it, so it's not completely flat. So what you want to do is taking an X-Acto knife, again being very careful, and just gonna trim off that little lip that is onto it. Because when resin cures, it shrinks down a bit, especially UV curing ones. So it will have just a little lip from around the edge. See? And the UV curing ones are, well, any resin is kind of easy to cut at first before it sits and cures a lot longer. So you can just trim it off, and then you just have a very clean, even side. So I'm just gonna go around and do all those. And once those are all cleaned up, you have such a stunning garland of lights here. Oh, okay, that you can't see that. All right, once edges are all cleaned off, you have this stunning strand of lights. And now let's finally turn them on. Oh my gosh, they are so cute. I love even like just the light coming down off there. I will see how they look in the dark, of course. From one to the other. Of course, both are stunning. And I love the fact that you can just change up the shapes. You can pick whatever you'd like. And they just glow like no other. And you can make them for every single season. I swear they'd probably look so stunning if they were to be leaves or little pumpkins and you use like autumn colors, or you do them into smaller, make them look like Christmas lights and make them a variety of colors, or red and green, but they're just so cute. Makes it a little bit different. You can have, you know, that unique little piece around your house. This also looks beautiful wrapped in wreaths, or if you put them around a candle. And that's all. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I absolutely love making it. So I hope this inspires you to get a little creative and pick your favorite shape. So I hope to see photos of anything you guys make. You can find me on Instagram at birchesco. And I'll see you in the next video.